hit the wall.
Get hype! The NBA Finals start tonight. We got 1 hour before.
That's beautiful.
The Suns versus the Bucks. Now, everybody expected the Bucks to be here, but nobody expected the Suns to be in the NBA playoffs unless you're a psychic or something like that. That game at 9 p.m. Eastern. We are getting you ready for that one. It's going to be really, really huge. What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome into Hoop Streams presented by DoorDash. I'm Christine Williamson, and if you know me, then you know I'm not here by myself. I got my guys with me. Trevor Scales, Gary Streisky. What's good, folk?
What's going on and what's happening, Christine?
We are chilling. Wish we were in Phoenix.
Yeah.
But this the next best place because DoorDash and Dasher Zach blessing us yet again for the finals tonight. Trev, what are you working with?
Look, I got myself a little grilled chicken club action here. It appears you got a nice little pizza going there. It's Grub City over here, baby.
The night has started stupendously. Zach, thank you. I kind of combined those.
No, it's fine.
You know what I meant to say.
Everything is cool. Christine.
What he meant to say is, Zach, thank you. Thank you, DoorDash. Looks delicious. Okay, so we're getting ready for this matchup. But before we get into this matchup, I do want to check in with Trev really fast because obviously your Hawks lost and we haven't spoken to you since then.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how you're doing going into the finals. How do you feel?
I mean, cool. We could just take this shot off the top rope, like right off the, jump of the show. But that's fine. Yeah, no, I am actually really satisfied with the Hawks' performance over the course of the season, Christine. Like, it was a fun ride at the very least. And signing Nate McMillan to a 4-year deal, also not a bad thing. Knowing that they were injured as they were and making it as far as they did, all encouraging for your boy. But your boy is still not going to have these high expectations. You know what that leads to? Disappointment. And I'm not into disappointments, Christine.
Here's the thing. They'll be ready to run it back, but right now it's all about the gold-plated logos because that means the NBA Finals. Listen, we saw that while we were sitting here running through our motions before the show, and the gold-plated fonts and graphics mean that someone's about to get a chip.
The golden buck.
I think that someone is
cool.
going to get the Suns, but hey, here we go.
Ooh, okay.
It's an hour to break it down.
Tease.
Wait, did you say it's going to go to the Suns?
I think so.
Okay, so what about tonight? You feel like the Suns are going to win tonight?
We just getting all the picks right off the top.
It's tonight.
I didn't know.
Just tonight, not the series. Just tonight. How are you
Tonight, yes. It's game one,
specifically?
finals game in the desert. Book is there. CP3 in the building, his first finals. We still don't know what the deal is with Giannis. Yes, I think that the Suns come out of the gate hot. It's going to be a raucous crowd. I think Phoenix is going to get the dub tonight. We'll obviously dive deeper into why and the X's and O's with the other crew, but yes.
I like all of that and the reasoning to go along with it, right? Not knowing what Giannis is going to be available for, understanding what you have in Devin Booker and CP3 for the most part, expecting Devin Booker to continue to progress as he has since breaking his face, right? Like, I think all of that molds to a win for Phoenix early on. We get this thing rolling.
Do you think that the Bucks can do anything good without Giannis?
Yes, because they beat the Hawks. Like, I was going to tell you, like, yes, they'll be fine.
Good, a relative term. Like Bobby Portis has fit in very nicely in Giannis's absence or when he has had to step up in a big way. But listen, man, you're going up against a juggernaut, a wire-to-wire team in Phoenix that has been hot and has really shown no signs of this being a weak point for them right now. So yes, the Bucks will obviously be competitive in this series, but Giannis is a linchpin that holds everything together for Milwaukee.
Two keys, right? Health and Chris Middleton. That's what it boils down to for the Bucks, right? Like the fact that Milwaukee has had really good performances from Chris Middleton for the most part. That's what helps propel them in the absence of Giannis. And also when he's there, his offensive versatility isn't necessarily going to propel him to be a better player for that roster, but what he gives you that Giannis cannot is extremely beneficial to Milwaukee.
Of course, Milwaukee has to piecemeal this thing until Giannis can be good enough to be that factor and not just a decoy. Hey, Giannis is on the court. No, Giannis is on the court and he's producing in a big way, which obviously Milwaukee needs, but that goes without saying.
All right, so thank you guys for hanging out with just the three of us, but guess what? We are rolling so incredibly deep tonight. We got Cass, we got Perk, we got Jacoby. What's good, folks?
Zach you to all you guys. I appreciate it. Just saying, I'm sure you guys are going to send us some food. Perk, first and foremost, where are you? And it is so loud.
I don't know, but it's popping. It's hot. I'm glad I didn't have to walk here. And I'm thinking about, I was supposed to do in Toronto 2 finals ago. I was supposed to go through the crowd and let them carry me through the crowd. What is it called?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I'm
Jurassic
thinking
Park?
about doing it
Yep.
right now.
No,
I'm
please
thinking
don't.
about doing that right now.
That's amazing. Yo, we need you. Okay, and then we go from Perk, who's just, I don't know what bar you're at, but it is all the way live, to Jacoby. Are you being held
It's
hostage
popping.
right now? What's going on with you?
Listen, I had to take the family out of the city, so we got my kids with the graphics team, as you can tell, and we're in an undisclosed Airbnb that has good Wi-Fi. And what else can you ask for when game finals, game one?
Hey, that's the key, the good Wi-Fi, because we are rolling, like I said, for an hour, and it is the NBA Finals. Perk, you have such a live crew behind you. I want to start things off with you. You were high on both the Bucks and Suns in these playoffs. Now, who do you feel better about heading into game one?
Well, here it is. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns for the simple fact, if you look at them in game ones throughout the playoffs, they 3-0, right? They had a long time to evaluate and look at the Milwaukee Bucks play against the Atlanta Hawks, and they always prepare for the game one. The Milwaukee Bucks got a quick turnaround coming into this game, so they had a short time to prep for this Phoenix Suns team and get a defensive scheme together and a strategy offensively. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns in game one. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns in 6 for the series because they have home court. If you think it's rocking in here, it's definitely going to be rocking in the arena.
And you said that you bet your house on the Suns. Jacoby, how would you? I'm not asking you to bet your house on the Suns, but who are you betting on heading into this series?
Well, first of all, I don't have a house. Perk probably has like 6, so it's not fair. He says bet his house. It's just one of many. But I will say this is, I agree. This is a Suns series to lose, especially when we don't know about the health of Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's rumors and reports that he would be available to come back, not game 1, but game 2 or 3. But even if he does, what status will he be in? What percentage of Giannis do we get? And how effective can he be based on the game that he plays with athleticism and physical dominance? What can he do if he is hobbled? It is, to me, you know what? I'm going to disagree with Perk. It's not Suns in 6, it's Suns in 5. This is CP3.
Suns in 5, wow. So, obviously, the health of Giannis is the number one storyline heading into game 1. But, Jacoby, do you feel like he's the most important player in this series?
Honestly, I don't. Obviously, his health is the most important factor in this series, but it's CP3. When you watch the Hawks series, the way that the Bucks were forced to defend the pick and roll of Trae Young and specifically Clint Capella, we all know what happened. Game 1, game 2, they dropped. When it went from 40% of them dropping in game 1 to 9% of them dropping in game 6, CP3 presents such a different problem for them because if Brook Lopez goes under the screen and is forced to sag, CP3's best shot is that elbow 15, 17-footer. You cannot give him that. And then if you force him up, imagine what DeAndre Ayton do with some of the smaller Bucks when Giannis isn't there. It is CP3 to me, not just from an on-the-court X's and O's I was discussing, but also legacy-wise. Like, if you're not rooting for CP3 to get a chip in his 16th year, then you don't love basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is the best story, in my opinion, heading into these finals. But, Perk, according to Woj and Malika Andrews, Giannis has continued around-the-clock treatment on his left knee with hopes to be cleared to play tonight. We're still waiting on his status. He went from doubtful to questionable. We saw him warm up, but, according to people who are in Phoenix, he looked good, but he was just taking shots. You don't know what that means as far as game action. But if he can't go or is limited, how should the Bucks attack the Suns tonight?
Well, they got to play the same way that they played in games 5 and 6 against the Atlanta Hawks. Cats, they can't change nothing up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You saw player movement. You saw ball movement. You saw Chris Middleton. You saw Drew Holiday being playmakers while being aggressive, looking to score. You saw Brook Lopez, right? Not having to hang out around the perimeter because he had to do the spacing for Giannis. But we saw Brook Lopez in the paint where he belongs. The Brook Lopez of old. I think right now the way that the Milwaukee Bucks are playing, they're playing inspiring basketball offensively. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It's not just standing around watching Giannis trying to go ISO and show us that he's been working on his game all season long or that he's not afraid to take jump shots. They have something beautiful in place.
Well, look, we know he's not going to be 100%, and we also know that you're no doctor, Perk, but if you were a part of the decision makers on this team, would you be playing Giannis in these games early on here? Or would you wait until they return back to Milwaukee?
Look, listen, let me tell you something. Everybody always talk about winning championships, and I get that. But the one thing that you cannot take for granted is making it to the NBA Finals, because you probably will never make it again. You don't know. It's so hard to get to the promised land. And if I'm Giannis, right, your franchise guy, guy that's has the highest paid contract in the NBA, what are the Milwaukee Bucks really going to tell him if he says he want to go out there and play? And I know Giannis is still young. He's still scratching the surface of his prime. But right now, this is a moment where you have to embrace. And if Giannis is ready to go, if he's 80% and he want to rock out, you got to let him do it.
Jacoby, what are your thoughts?
Giannis gets celebrated for his defense. He gets celebrated for his in-the-paint dominance. And he also gets sort of made fun of for the free throws and the jump shooting. But one thing that people don't say enough about Giannis is his durability. When you think about his career, which is getting pretty long at this point, he is one of the most, if not the most durable player in the NBA. We saw this injury. It was kind of a freak thing, a hyperextension. But I agree with Perk. Well, I disagree with Perk. If Giannis comes to me in game one of a 7-game series, says trainer, coach, GM, owner, I gotta go, I have to go. You don't have to in game one. If we can get game one, because this is a good Bucks team without Giannis, as we've seen in the Hawks series, you don't need him in game one. So I would definitely not play him in game one if it was up to me, which I am not a doctor nor a decision maker for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Perk, last word before we bring in.
Yeah, I can't believe you right now. Look, this is the finals. And listen, I get it, right? You looked at what they did to the Atlanta Hawks, and I appreciate it, and I love beautiful basketball. But this Phoenix Suns team is different, especially on the defensive side of things. The way that they load up boxes and elbows, help the helper, tied on the string defensively. I mean, like, if you have to play. You need your best to beat this, because I talked about it in 6. You talked about it in 5. It might be in 4.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, for more expertise, let's welcome in one of the true legends in our industry, Hall of Famer, Michael Wilbon, joining us from Phoenix. Hi, Wilbon. Really appreciate you joining us on Hoop Streams.
Cassidy, I'm just listen. Perk has been right so many times over this postseason that if I get ready to disagree with Perk, I got to re-examine the answer. He has gotten it right night after night after night after night. So I'm bowing to Kendrick Perkins. And, I mean, literally, like in the last series, you know, understanding when the Clippers might have an upper hand, but no, not tonight, and it's going to be Phoenix. I'm whatever Perk says, I'm going to start being an amen chorus because I thought Giannis should not play these first 2 games. But Perk raises such a great point about the difficulty in getting here. If we don't believe it, ask Chris Paul on the other side. It's so hard to get here.
Absolutely. And look, Wilbon, like how much, though, of a determining factor do you think Giannis's health or lack thereof will be on this series? So whether or not he's going to play, I mean, that's not up to us. Yeah.
Entirely, Cassidy. I don't believe that Milwaukee can beat Phoenix without Giannis. I don't believe the Bucks can win more than a game without Giannis. I mean, it's not just matchups, which is all important in this sport, but the Suns are playing so well. And I'm pretty sure Perk probably spoke about that earlier in the segment. They are playing so well. They're playing so well defensively. Remember when the Clippers could barely score 35 points in a half. And I guess it was in game 4. They just couldn't score. The Suns, who you don't think of as a defensive juggernaut, they are. They were a top, 4 or 5 team defensively. So, you know, I think they need Giannis. Does he have to play the first 2 games? Again, I don't think so, but my man Perk is starting to persuade me. I may need to reconsider that position.
Well, you know, we know you're working on a project with CP3, Wilbon, and have gotten to know him better, especially over this stage in his career. I wanted to ask you, what has been the most interesting thing about Chris's journey to the finals through your lens?
You know, Cassidy, that's a great question. it's that combined with who he is, how much the league trusts him, how much the players trust him, as a leader of the Players Association. I mean, Chris Paul, it was teasing at first. I would say to him, all of this is preparing you for something else. I mean, look, he may have a 20-year career in basketball or longer, but he doesn't have to. I mean, Chris Paul is a really, really, really smart, focused guy. He listens. He sort of recruits smart people to listen to. I mean, this is a rare thing now the last couple of generations as I turn into a get off my lawn type voice here. But Chris just soaks in everything. I mean, he's not a kid anymore. Chris is 35, I think.
Yes.
And he could do anything. I don't know where his life is going to take him. He is prepared and preparing. And so, yes, everybody's looking at the finals, and God knows he wanted to get to the finals. He wants to win a championship as much as anybody that I've covered, but it's not the only thing in his life. And so I just appreciate sort of seeing that part of someone who's a superstar in his profession, but not bound by it exclusively. And so he's, I don't know that there would have been a bubble season, postseason completed last season without Chris Paul and Doc Rivers. I'm serious about that. And that's for another time, another day if we wanted to examine it. But he is, Charles Barkley would always call Chris the best leader in the sport today, in this generation. And it's not like I doubted him, but sometimes I wonder why Charles thought that. Now I know why. He's a great leader. And you can look at Oklahoma City last year, a team that should have been deep in the lottery. They wound up, 4th or 5th seed? A Suns team that, yes, they were good in the bubble, but they hadn't done anything since 2010. 11 years later, Chris Paul shows up, and it's not just boom, because that wouldn't respect all the work he put in and the thought, and he and Monty, the partnership, and then a further partnership with Devin Booker, and getting DeAndre Ayton to play. DeAndre Ayton, we didn't know he had that in him. That's about Monty Williams and Chris Paul, getting it out of him.
I will say one of the most significant quotes over the course of these playoffs is DeAndre Ayton saying he owes essentially his career to Chris Paul. And, speaking of DeAndre Ayton, in my opinion, he is the X factor of this series. So, I want to bring in Perk and Jacoby here on this note, and then finish with you, Wilbon. Perk, who in your mind is the X factor of this series between the Bucks and Suns?
Well, actually, I'm going with the same person as you, Cassidy. I'm going with DeAndre Ayton. Look, when he plays well and he dominates the paint on both ends of the floor, the Suns win the basketball game. It don't matter how well Chris Paul plays or Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton, every time he elevates his game, which he's been pretty damn consistent, except for one time, they have won the basketball game. The way he's able to anchor the defense is so special because he can switch pick and rolls. He's able to go his verticality at the basket and blocking shots. And let's not even get started on the offensive end. He's just a bright young superstar. I'm going with DeAndre Ayton.
Who's your pick, Jacoby?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's not DeAndre Ayton because he's been so consistently good. Like, he's not really an X factor anymore. We know what we're going to get from him. For me, it's Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday has been up and down on the offensive end. But when you're Chris Paul, he's going to wake up every morning and know that Drew Holiday is going to cover him from foul line to baseline every single possession. And Chris Paul is an irritant. Well, guess what? Drew Holiday is going to be just as irritating to Chris Paul as Chris Paul is to the opposite team.
That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Wilbon, who do you think is the X factor in this finals?
Mikal Bridges. Because late in the season and early in the playoffs, I mean, he's a hell of a third option. And remember, a third or fourth option. Remember, because you're dealing with having to stop, having to defend Chris and Book and Ayton, as everybody said. I mean, and, just now, Big Perk said it perfectly. You're getting something from him consistently in so many different ways. Offensively, defensively. He's had games where he shot like 10 for 13. Are you kidding me? I mean, he's had games where you think, this guy, I think next year, DeAndre Ayton is just going to be a monster, like an all-star, a guy who probably will up it, the production to 20 and 12 or something like that. But Mikal Bridges defensively can get after, twos and threes. I mean, he's really tough on a lot of good wing players. But when he offensively, I know his first goal is probably to not shut somebody down, but to make it difficult for some of the league's top scorers. He's going to have to deal with Drew Holiday, and maybe even have to deal with Middleton, but probably more Holiday. And Bryn Forbes, or whoever they put him on. But when he scores, when he winds up hitting that corner three, he can get loose in transition, which the Clippers sort of slowed the Suns down a couple of games in that series. I don't know if Milwaukee is even interested in that, but Mikal Bridges can really put his imprint on this series offensively. We know he's going to do it defensively. How much is he going to contribute on the offensive end?
That is a next level submission. Wouldn't expect anything less from our Hall of Famer. Wilbon, we really appreciate you coming on Hoop Streams. Enjoy Game 1. We'll see you post-game on SportsCenter with Stephen A. And, of course, PTI weekdays on ESPN. Perk, you want to say one thing before Wilbon leaves?
I just want to say Wilbon over there looking like he should be on the cover of a GQ magazine, okay? I'm saying you really looking spiffy over there, brother.
I'm trying to be like Kendrick Perkins. That's what I'm trying to do.
I'm liking the side view. I'm liking the whole swag. You go on, watch your ass up.
That PTI desk does not allow people to see that Wilbon is one of the best dressed men in all of sports broadcasting.
You're talking to one of the best dressed men. Kendrick's suit game is killing it. Cassidy, it's always good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
You're the best. Enjoy the game.
All righty. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. We're cutting you down to Game 1 of the NBA Finals. How do we feel, guys, about the all-black murdered out look for Devin Booker as you're heading into Game 1 here? It's nice, clean. Phoenix, look, guys, they've had one of the league's greatest turnarounds. Let's look back at how they got here.
We watch this Phoenix Suns team play, and they play agenda-free basketball. They just want to get the W.
2013, the job was rebuild.
Right.
It's 2018, it's been 5 years.
It's still rebuilt, yeah.
NBA Executive of the Year, James Jones.
Yeah, champ! Yeah, champ! I just imagine if Luka was playing with Devin Booker. I mean, they're exciting to watch now with Ricky Rubio, but could you imagine that pairing? Like, we would have that pairing for the next 10 years.
Former #1 overall pick that was picked ahead of Luka Doncic and Trae Young is flat out balling and validating his stature as a former #1 overall pick.
My God, the saga of this team. Disastrous draft picks at times. Too many point guards. Not enough point guards.
I'm a big CP3 fan. I thought he should have won MVP this season. I've been applauding him.
I'm not sure if Devin Booker's a winning player. I don't know. But he's not a defender at all. And he is a streaky shooter.
I'm saying it on national television. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
I got Be Legendary tatted on my arm. That's something that Kobe left me with.
The Phoenix Suns are not leaving Phoenix.
The question is, when's Robert Sarver going to bring an NBA team to Phoenix?
Damn.
Oh, wow.
He's so tight, he squeaks when he walks.
Last night's Phoenix crowd was the best atmosphere we've seen at an NBA game in a year and a half.
The Suns are going to the NBA Finals. The Suns have an opportunity to be the kings of all of pro basketball.
Chris Paul is in the NBA Finals. What do you think when you hear that sentence?
Man, it sounds damn good. Damn good.
But it's been a long time coming. We've seen the bottom of the bottom for multiple years, and just keeping my head down, waiting on this moment right here. But we still have work to do. I mean, this is nice and all, but we're going for Larry for sure.
All right, I would just like to personally say, and you guys are my witness, that I've been rocking with the Suns since last season.
That's 8 months ago.
Right, hey, come on, bro. Shortened off season and everything.
So much fun of me when I said I was rocking with the Suns. I'm still rocking with the Suns.
Okay.
Anyway,
September. Yeah. Congrats.
2 seasons ago, the Suns had 19 wins. How are you guys feeling about it? Do you feel like they'll be able to bring this whole thing full circle?
Yes, they've brought it full circle, and I don't think it's a stretch to say this is one of the most impressive turnarounds in that short a span that we've seen in sports. This team won sub-20 games. They were quite literally the worst team record-wise, every stat-wise in the NBA just 2-3 seasons ago, with collectively the same group of players, obviously Devin Booker being the stalwart, signed the max extension, and all the ownership group really did was kind of made that micro adjustment, which was trading for Chris Paul after they sort of dispatched him to OKC. He led that team to the playoffs, and they're like, no, we need to bring him to Phoenix. And look what they've done, just that addition. But what I'm saying is it's been nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, man. CP3 being the X factor that he has been, as Wilbon and the others have said, like, it has been a heck of a turnaround, and it all started down in that bubble.
Okay, so now it's time to enter the zone, presented by DoorDash. Suns have had a red-hot run to the finals. Let's take a look back at some of their best games this year. We start with one that sounds very familiar. The Bucks versus the Suns. This one on February 10th. Giannis went off for 47 points, but Chris Paul and D-Book put in one of their best performances as a duo this game, and they managed to hold out the Bucks in a shootout and one of the best regular season games of the year.
Do we think that, like, this is going to be the tempo for the entirety of the series? Because I think, like, Phoenix's defense is a lot more improved than what we saw, at least in this effort.
But it could be. Like, the tempo is what the best backcourt in this series dictates that it is, right? Like, if Devin Booker and CP want to push pace, cool, that's exactly what they're going to do. But I'll note that this was in February, so, like, we're still kind of, like, in that point of the season. We're like, are the Suns for real? Are the Suns for real? And here we are 5 months removed. Yes, they are.
All right, let's go to April 28th, Clippers, Suns. Chris Paul and D-Book brought the Suns back to the playoffs as they clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2010.
Yeah. I mean, the Clippers game, and then as we look at the Nuggets matchup there, like, both of these teams have had just sort of an arc that'll help you realize just how far they've come. But the Suns specifically in their run.
All right, Western Conference Finals Game 6. Chris Paul on the verge of his first ever finals appearance closes out his old team with a couple of dagger threes. Monty Williams and his Suns are headed to the NBA Finals in the first appearance for the franchise since 1992.
And if anybody wanted to, like, discredit what the Suns had to do to get here, I mean, you led right there. Like, they had to knock off LeBron and the Lakers. And then they had to run through the MVP. And then they had to knock off the Clips, right? So everything the Suns have done has been turned up to the fullest extent in which they're here now.
Yeah, 41 points in this closeout game for Chris Paul with 0 turnovers was absolutely immaculate. That was a game that made you realize, nah, man, hey, Chris is all the way turned up. He is the guy that they needed in order to make this ship go. So shouts to Monty Williams, my personal coach of the year, and Chris Paul, the 16-year vet, finally getting his due.
Is this what we expected out of the Suns? When they got Chris Paul, did you expect the Suns to make this run? I mean, obviously, we knew what they did last year in the bubble, but adding him, did you expect that they would go all the way at least to the final series?
No, I ain't gonna claim fake fandom like you, Kristen. I ain't gonna sit here and say that I knew they were going.
It's real.
Nah, you're right. You're true. You was with her. But no, I don't think it was expected at all. Like, this level of a run, to be second in the West record-wise, and to clearly be the favorite once everything got cracking, right? Like, that was something special because nobody trusted Utah, even though they're at the top of the West. It was Suns. You knew that they had every bit of a chance to get to this point.
I don't think that it was expected, but I don't think anybody should be surprised because I know I keep going back to the season before Phoenix. Like, he was kind of like sent off to OKC as a salary dump, right? They didn't want to pay the 2-year, $80 million that he had left on his deal. And he took one of the youngest teams in the league at that point that everybody cast off and took them to the playoffs. So I think more than he helped OKC, I think being around that young nucleus of Thunder players helped rejuvenate the then 34, 35-year-old Paul. And then that just carried over to this team now, which is still incredibly younger than him. So I think all of these little beats have, like, lined up serendipitously for Chris Paul, who's 36 in his first finals, 16 years in the league, on the verge of winning his first chip.
I see you with the serendipitous drop.
I had to drop a big word. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're about 30 minutes from tip-off. We see campaign, the guys warming up, but I want to talk about Torrey Craig because Torrey Craig is going to get a ring whether the Bucks win or the Suns win. He was on the Bucks at the start of the season up until March. Now he plays for the Suns, so he's getting a ring regardless.
As he should.
If you were Torrey Craig,
Yeah.
Yes.
Is you rocking this ring?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm rocking the ring.
Proudly. And I'm emailing whoever runs ProBasketballReference.com and telling them to make sure you have one-time champ at the top of my profile because, look, as Christine said, March 18th is when he got traded. So it's not like he left in free agency or something. And even if he did, go ahead, get your ring and rock it either way. Like, I'm just here for, there's no loyalty from a team standpoint, so I'm going to go ahead and just take my loyalty and attach it to the ring regardless.
If I'm Torrey Craig, who's going to get a ring and deservedly should get a ring regardless at the end of these finals, that ring is walking in every room before I walk in the room, if you know what I'm saying. I'm like walking in the room, here comes Torrey Craig. What's up? Torrey Craig is here. Like the ring, whether it's the Bucks logo or the Suns logo, is on the wrist at all times. Listen, like with other sports, if you get called up to the playoff roster in Major League Baseball and just sit the bench and your team wins the World Series, you're getting a ring and you're getting the playoff and World Series bonus. So like Torrey Craig, win-win situation.
Absolutely. So no salt. No, you're not salty at all.
Heck no.
Wow, how could you?
All right. Well, that makes sense. I feel like I'd be a little salty,
No, you
but
wouldn't.
I'd be more salty if I was the one who was winning a ring and the other team like had traded me and weren't in the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like then I'd be like, hey, like you guys should have, you know.
Oh, you should have kept me type
the
stuff.
The other way around, of course. I'm gonna rock the
bump
ring.
all that.
Like that doesn't make any sense. All right, you are watching Hoop Streams presented by DoorDash, and we got a game coming up in about 29 minutes. Cass, Perk, Jacoby, what y'all got going on?
I mean, I'm just trying to have life lessons from Torrey Craig because he's winning even if he loses.
Yes.
Like, isn't that the goal of life?
Exactly.
Isn't that the goal of life?
No
I'm just
else.
saying.
No else.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Christine. I'm now joined by Dave McMenamin, actually, who's joining us live from Phoenix. And, Dave's been covering the Suns. Suns run throughout it. And I'm also back with Perk and Jacoby. And Dave, hi. You have a great article on ESPN.com right now about Chris Paul, who, by the way, is also the president of the Players Association. We've had a lot of conversations just about his leadership. But he addressed the criticism of this compact schedule and the injuries. What is his take on this war of attrition that we've seen in these playoffs?
Well, first of all, what's up, party people? Glad to join Hoop Streams once again. But think about this. Chris Paul, just like anybody else in this playoff run, has had to push his body to the limits. He had a nerve issue in his shoulder in the first round against the Lakers. He caught COVID-19 in between the second round of the conference finals. And in the conference finals, he dealt with torn ligaments in his shooting hand. So it's not like he's been impervious to what this compact schedule has equated to for the entire NBA player body. But his point was, back in November, after the bubble ended, in the time period where the Players Association and the NBA ownership group got together to discuss what can we do for 2020, 2021, everyone was given a platform. The 450-plus players were given a platform to make their voice heard then. And if you want to talk about sour grapes now or cry about spilled milk, you should have done it way back then. Now, Chris Paul did not call out LeBron James, his longtime friend, by name, but that was the insinuation. I asked Chris the question, and I said LeBron was one of the most vocal critics of this process. His point was, hey, we had a chance to figure this thing out. We moved forward because it was the best for everyone, because there were two teams playing in October. Obviously, the Lakers and the Heat. But there was a whole bunch of teams that had a long time off. Many of them had the time off from the time the NBA went on hiatus back in April, and they had to address the NBA as a whole.
Well, we did just get some injury news, Dave. According to Woj, Giannis is a go for Game 1, so we'll be seeing him out there tonight. But I want to ask you, since you've been following what the Suns are doing and how they're preparing for this game, what have you been hearing about how they've dealt with the uncertainty around Giannis and the potential of him playing, which he will be tonight?
Well, Monty Williams feels like this Bucks team, whether they have Giannis or not, and obviously with Giannis, if he's healthy, it certainly is a characteristic of this team, is they attack the paint. And so Giannis is the best at doing it in the open court, getting a long defensive rebound or a block or a steal and turning it into a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 fast break. And with a head full of steam, he's either going to dunk, lay up on you, or he's going to get fouled. And that's an interesting prospect when he gets fouled. But in the half court, even with no Giannis, you get Drew Holiday's penetration. You obviously have Brook Lopez going back to the Nets. Brook Lopez playing pick and roll, using his size, not just being a spacer. And so they want to be able to take away those opportunities. And Monty told us pregame, it's not just going to be DeAndre Ayton. You've seen other teams put their big on Giannis being another big, but he said we want to mix up our wings, and he said we have some 6'6", 6'7" guys who we can throw at him. He didn't say him by name, but that means Jay Crowder, and you'll see Jay Crowder playing with that physical, gritty, tough type of style to try to get under Giannis's skin, and certainly he has 6 fouls to give, and again, put Giannis at the foul line. That's something that's going to help your team.
Jacoby, we saw your face when I revealed this breaking news from Woj. What's your reaction? What are the words to go with that face?
Well, this absolutely changes everything to me. A couple things. Number one, if I'm Chris Paul and Giannis is covering Jay Crowder, guess what I'm saying? Come here, Jay Crowder. Come set a pick. Let's see how well this man moves. There is no sympathy in the NBA Finals. But my question is for my guy, David McMenamin. How does this change what you do with DeAndre Ayton? Do you put Ayton on Giannis?
I think you start there because Ayton is someone who I've been told that when he has a specific task, he stays way more into the game. Otherwise, he can kind of float a little bit. So you challenge Ayton by saying, you go take that 2-time MVP. You're 22 years old. You've gotten us to the finals. We're playing on our home court. It's going to be a wild arena. The guy hasn't played in a week. We trust you to play that role. If it doesn't work out, then you go to your other layered spots that you can go to. But to me, that's where I would start if I'm Monty Williams.
Perk, you said you thought that Giannis should give it a go. What are your thoughts on that Ayton-Giannis potential matchup?
Well, I don't like it. I don't like it for Ayton for the simple fact that Giannis is great at getting to the foul line. And if you get Giannis in foul trouble, if you get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, what happens to the Phoenix Suns? We have to remember, Jay Crowder is a guy that really guarded Giannis a lot last year in Miami. So we can't forget that. He knows how to guard. Look, it's not that hard to stop Giannis. Load up in transition, sag off of him, make him take the jumper. We already know how it goes. So it's not rocket science. And then at the end of the day, guess what? I would not be surprised if we see a sample size of CP3 guard Giannis. I watch CP3 guard Kevin Durant. I watch CP3 guard bigger guys. He gives those guys problems. He's not afraid to switch out on guys. We seen the clip go viral where he guarded Kevin Love. Kevin Love thought it was a clear out on the low block in the regular season, and what happened? He got absolutely nothing. He could not even move CP3. It's a certain thing called grown man strength. Remember, CP3 is 36 years of age, so.
Yeah, and look, and this is their first time in the finals. Best believe he's going to, try to win this chip by any means necessary. It should be an interesting thing to watch, especially as, Giannis is. We want to keep an eye on what's going on with that hyperextended knee. We'll also keep an eye on Dave's coverage of the Suns throughout these finals on ESPN.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Mick10. Dave, thank you so much for joining us on Hoop Streams, and enjoy Game 1.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, from Phoenix, back to Bristol. Look at this 6-box we got going on. Hoop Streams with our graphics. Like, this is a party.
Hey, look, real quick. Cassidy, everybody listen. I saw the pizza. I saw the sub sandwiches. But guess what? I'm at the Ainsworth in Phoenix. Look, I'm at the Ainsworth in Phoenix, and their signature dish is the 24-karat wings, 24-karat wings.
Is that like
I don't know whether. Listen, I don't know whether to eat them or go put them in a trophy case. I might take them home and put them in a trophy case.
Put them in your
You
pocket.
need to put that on a necklace, and then we're going to feature you on the next Walk It Out. That looks yummy. Jacoby, we're being left out here. We had, the other crew, they have food brought in by Zach. From DoorDash, and you and me, we're just sitting here. Exactly.
Listen,
all right. Well,
I'm floored.
While our stomachs are growling, let's try to get after something that we're gonna do for this whole actual NBA Finals, and we wanted to do a Finals draft. So we're going to draft pairs of players from the Suns and Bucks via snake draft. So you get 1 point per point, rebound, and assist. These are the rules, guys. And we're going to keep track of the points through the finals. And the winner gets I don't know something. Venmo
gold
$5
nuggets.
from all the losers.
Hey.
Oh yeah, they get those gold nuggets shipped in the mail from Perk. Now don't shoot the messenger because I'm just reading the draft order from our producer Chris. He picked, okay? So don't get mad at me. But the draft order goes: Gary gets the first pick, then me, then Trevor, Christine, Jacoby, and then Perk gets the last pick, and then the first pick of the second round. So Gary, take it away. Who are you picking first?
Well, with the news that Giannis is a go for Game 1, that changes absolutely nothing for me. Because with the first pick in the 2021 NBA Finals Hoop Streams Fantasy/Reality Draft, Gary Streisand selects Devin Booker first overall. He's averaging 26 games per in the postseason. He's likely to go off for 45, 50 in one of these affairs. Give me D-Book first overall all day long.
Wow. All right, Kimchi, Kuiper, we don't need the whole analysis. You got your pick. We got to keep this moving. Cassidy, a.k.a. me, I'm going to go with Giannis. That's who I'm picking up at the number 2 pick.
Yeah. I would have gone there immediately if he was still on the board. I imagine, Cassidy, and it had a lot to do with him playing this evening that swayed your decision making. But no worries, I'll go CP3 at 3.
Oh, okay. Christine?
I'm going Chris Middleton.
Going way too fast. I wasn't ready.
Okay. All right. Jacoby? Who you got at 5?
Still my pick, Christine, and I'll never forget
You're
that.
welcome.
So I'm going to have to make an adjustment and go with DeAndre Ayton. He'll fill up 2 of the 3 stat columns.
All right, Perk.
Oh, man.
You got 6 and 7. You got 2 picks here.
That's so wrong. You know what? I need to go with somebody that's going to fill up the stat sheet. You know what? I'm going with Cameron Payne. For the simple fact, I feel like they have no one on the Bucks bench that can match his energy or guard him. I'm going with Cam Payne as my number 6 pick. My number 7 pick, I'm going with Drew Holiday. I need somebody to fill up the stat sheet. We know one thing about Drew Holiday is that throughout the course of the playoffs, whether he scored consistently or not, he's going to get you those rebounds. He's going to get you those assists. He's going to get you those steals. I'm going with Drew Holiday with my number 7 pick.
Jacoby.
Well, there's only one selection here. He might not be able to stay on the floor, but I believe he will. My man, Brook Lopez, we all saw him dunking all over the place when Giannis was out. And even that we know Giannis is in, even when he's healthy, he doesn't play that much. Something tells me he'll only be playing about 20 minutes a game in Game 1, Game 2. Brook Lopez is my pick.
Okay, well, you just took my second pick, if that makes you feel any better.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go with Jay Crowder.
Oh, okay.
That was going to be mine. I'm not even going to front. He's the only man that's been here before. So that was my logic behind that one. Bobby Portis had all kinds of energy for the Hawks, so I'm going to just ride with him because why not?
Whew. Oh, man, now I don't know what to do.
My guy is still there, and I think I'm going to get him.
I think I'm going to go with... I think I got influenced by Wilbon. I'm going to go Mikal Bridges.
Yeah. I like that.
I think unless I don't know what I'm doing here, give me Cam Johnson. I'm taking Cam Johnson. He's healthy,
right? You guys.
Is he available?
Yeah, he's available.
Because he's putting up numbers. I'm like, why is
Look at the confidence in us.
He's in the finals, right? He's in the finals, right?
Cam Johnson.
So we don't have the ability to turn that around our picks. We'll show you guys in the next show. But shout out to Hoop Streams. But we'll keep track of the scoring, after every game through the finals, and let you know who's winning and who's going to get those golden nuggets. But for tonight, we've got a great Game 1, guys. It's the first Game 1 of the finals in really everyone's career except for Jay Crowder, who, of course, was in the finals with the Heat last year. But we know Game 1 has also provided some incredible moments throughout NBA Finals history. So let's take a look back at a recap.
The fans are ready. The players and coaches are ready as we're set to go here for Game 1.
They won the East, we won the West. So it's like everybody just get ready, sit back, and let's enjoy it.
We worked very hard to get here.
Starts tonight. Take every possession like it's his last. Every minute, every second, every quarter like it's his last, man.
Ubuntu! Y'all know what it is.
Game 1, NBA Finals, baby. You gotta say more?
Get my eyes on you now.
And be proud of what you've done. Now go out there and be big.
Let's just play basketball. Have some fun. Let's have fun. Keep pushing them hard. You're right there. We're right there.
Larry Bird follows his own shot. Oh, what a play. He is the man.
We get whatever we want.
Kobe dribble drive. Kobe. Oh, what a slam dunk.
Hey, you win the final. Let's go. Keep your head. Everybody get together.
All it's on them. They're supposed to win. We ain't even supposed to be here.
101 to 99. Iverson against Tyronn Lue. Baseline right. He backs up. He fires 2 ball. Got it again. He's way too good.
Move your feet. Don't let him break you down. Don't let him break you down.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes.
Did you see that look? You can't believe it. He is hot. Woo!
You win over a long period of time. Just gets it off in time, and he banks it in. What a shot from Parker.
Only one shot, baby. One shot.
Craig driving. He goes. He puts it up. On the rim off. Tipped in. Tipped in by Akeem.
Michael.
MJ, top of the circle against Russell. Michael hangs, fires, score! He knocked it in at the buzzer. Bulls win. How many times has he done that?
Good job, fellas. Good job.
We ain't do nothing yet. We got a long way to go.
Nobody said it was going to be easy, baby. 3 more to go.
Where amazing happens. Perk, you played in the NBA Finals. What's the first game like?
You know what? You get caught in between, right? Like appreciating that you at the finals, and then the atmosphere, the media, even the national anthem and the starting lineup is different. The energy of the crowd is like a moment that you never forget, right? And then you have all these butterflies, and then all of a sudden it's jump ball and everything goes out the window. You back to playing basketball again. But the build-up going into the finals, it's everything and more, especially when you play it.
Absolutely. I mean, and we've had some time to digest this matchup, but you guys, I want to dive a little deeper with a segment we call Give Me a Number. And you know, we're going to run through some key numbers here. And the first one we have for you is 1. That's the margin of victory in every regular season Suns-Bucks matchup this year. You know, the Suns won 125-124 in February, and then 128-127 in OT in April. The only time that's ever happened before was 2010 for the Celtics and Lakers, and that series wins 7 games. Another note on that Celtics-Lakers series is with Giannis and Booker leading their teams in scoring. This is the first finals matchup between leading scorers playing on their first NBA team since 2010 when Kobe Bryant and Paul Pierce led their teams. And speaking of Devin Booker, our next number for you is 432. That's the number of points Devin Booker has had this postseason, and that's the most points for a finals team's leading scorer in his first postseason since Julius Erving and Maurice Lucas did it in 1977. But one caveat, Dr. J and Lucas, both those guys had postseason experience of the ABA. So what we've seen from Booker, 27 points a game, is unprecedented in NBA history. So Jacoby, got to ask you this. What's impressed you the most about Booker this season? Postseason.
Well, listen, as the senior broken nose analyst at ESPN, I have to say this is he was scoring a higher clip before the broken nose. But you saw a couple games where he went down a little bit, but now at this time off, I expect him to be back to the pre-broken nose, mask off Devin Booker that we saw. As someone who's broken their nose about, 13 times, the swelling goes down very quickly, and those 3 days will really help.
You are the expert. I'm going to move on to the next. Speaking of masks, how about this? The total number of points Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have combined for since Giannis went down with an injury in the third quarter of Game 4 was 124. I said masks. How about superheroes? Perks. If Giannis can't be himself in this series, is the Bucks' new Batman and Robin combo in Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, are they enough for you to top the Suns?
No, they're not enough, but they're really good without Giannis. And here's why, for the simple fact that they're able to be themselves. They're not just standing around and watching. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday could score the ball at will, right? They got the mid-range game. They got right and left hand when they get to the basket. They can finish through traffic. But the thing that's so underrated about both of those guys is that their ability to make others around them better. And with Giannis being out, we were able to see that. We were able to see the best version of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, along with two guards that are not afraid to go down in the trenches and gain rebound with the best of them.
And with Giannis back tonight, again, he's in the starting lineup for the Bucks. We'll see what Middleton and Holiday have in store, but they were both electric in the Bucks closeout win over the Hawks. Let's actually take a look back at that game.
Trae Young will play. Giannis will sit out.
We played games without Giannis. You have a structure and a system where you can function at a high level on both ends of the court, no matter who's playing.
Three-pointer good. Middleton floats it up off the glass and in, and one. Middleton red hot. Yes, this is a Chris Middleton quarter. Holiday driving, left hand. Wow, what a switch and hang. Jammed by Lopez with a right hand. First time since 1974. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to the NBA Finals.
A lot of folks, what?
Doing that. Why do we keep doing that?
Showing the Hawks, he's down bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Continuously.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's why I talked off the top of the show about it, because I just wanted you to get it out there so we kind of knew where you felt, where you
I'm
stood.
sorry they did that to you.
You're not.
So, yeah.
You're not.
Sorry
You
about
over
that.
here kikiing.
All right, so a lot of people probably expected the Bucks to be in the finals this season. Let's take a look back, though, at all the things that the good things that the Bucks did throughout this regular season and so on. First, Celtics Bucks. Giannis, DiVincenzo.
Dime! Forgot about that.
This was clean.
Woo.
No, hold on.
The handles.
Bow.
Straight to
no
James
looker.
Harden's face.
Shout out
wait,
White
no.
Dante.
Different game.
We missed Dante. Okay, this is March 4th. Drew Holiday seals the deal
We do
with the
miss
last
Dante.
second go-ahead bucket over the Grizzlies.
I mean, there was a stretch during the middle portion of this season that the Bucks quite literally couldn't get a win without Drew Holiday on the court. When he missed that time, Milwaukee was not a good basketball team. So
Talk about down bad.
Yeah.
Pat Connaughton launches a three. Giannis grabs the offensive rebound and then just absolutely disrespects Steph Curry.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, man. This is why it's not fair that he on the court just in general, right? Like, he barely jumping to get to the rim, bro. Like, he's just disrespectful.
I mean, it will be interesting to see a play like that in tonight's game, just how healthy that knee really feels.
How much he's willing to push it.
Yeah.
That's true. Eastern Conference semis game 2, Bucks
Goodness.
down 1, under 15 to play. Drew Holiday with the bucket.
Oh, the head spin move. By her.
I feel like it makes that noise.
No, like the idea of what he can do offensively has to be intriguing to Milwaukee as far as what they need from him to win the series.
Game 1, round 1, 2021 playoffs. Chris Middleton found himself in overtime with the game on the line, and he did not disappoint. Built a fadeaway. This is when we realized that he was Batman.
Whoa, okay, don't do that. Offensive versatility does not mean that he's unequivocally better. We don't need to do that, Christine. They're damn good
so
together.
this is great for me.
You just
I don't know.
flame up the set.
Goodness gracious, we didn't need that.
Nets Bucks Eastern Conference semis game 7. Chris Middleton, Batman again, finds himself with the ball and game on the line. There's that shot right in Bruce Brown's face.
You just taking the knife and just turning it.
Well, not for nothing.
Just
Giannis did have some moments throughout this series where we're like, hey, man, Giannis, you're supposed to be Batman right there.
Hey, but look, dog, again, they don't get to those moments if Giannis drops 15. We know that. Like, if he has to drop I'm not.
Robin.
Y'all gonna have
Also,
me angry on this set.
Not for nothing, too. Secondary storyline, the progression of like absolutely no fans in the arenas to like a packed Deer Park at this point, and then obviously the scene set with Perk and all the excited fans back in one place. A beautiful sight. Looking forward to seeing the atmosphere through the TV. It's been a long time coming. I'm hyped.
Yeah, man. Gotta be. Energy gonna be electric. Shouts to that.
Wow, Gary, it's almost like you knew what the next segment was for the fans in arenas, because
I didn't.
we're gonna do a Suns star power fans versus Bucks star power fans really fast, and we're gonna start with the Suns because they've had some big time stars at their games. What'd you say?
I say because they actually have famous fans.
Exactly.
Disrespecting Milwaukee.
I did.
Okay.
First take, had trouble with that already.
So the Suns. What'd you say?
Nothing. Move on. Just keep going.
The Suns, obviously, Larry Fitzgerald, Kyler Murray in the building. I mean, it makes sense that they're at this game,
Jonah
right?
Hill?
Is that Jonah Hill?
Oh, no, that's not bad.
What?
Hey!
Guy
Flavor
Fieri.
Town. Bro, he's
Phoenix wins.
He is
That is the fattest Cuban link I've ever seen. Oh, my
JJ
God.
Watt just had to swap out the hats.
He just touched down.
Kendall Jenner holding it
that?
down because her boyfriend plays for the Suns.
Yeah.
He about to break the curse.
And then Lil Wayne.
Auntie Weezy.
I feel like that one confused me a little bit, but you know.
I mean, Weezy gets the pass. He's water. He flows.
He does. And he's like a big CP3 guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like he latches on to CP3. Not to throw shade, but like he rocking with it.
they're homies. Like CP3, quite like honestly, is like one of the players left in his age demo.
That's
Everybody's
real.
younger than us,
That's
man.
super real.
How
when I
old
say
how
us,
old is Lil Wayne?
he up there.
That's true. He is kind of old, huh?
Carter 2 was quite some time.
He was dropping stuff when he was 16 in the 90s, so he's up there.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's go Bucks fans. Take a look.
And that's
Chance
the
the
end
Rapper.
of the segment.
He's so disrespectful.
He may be from Chicago.
Yeah.
But he's actually a Bucks fan.
Okay, is he a Bucks fan or did he just happen to show
I mean,
up?
he was in there.
This is
Gucci Man's
disrespectful.
team.
He just made the drive. Wait a minute. Wait a
should not
minute.
be
Gucci?
there.
Who slid this in?
This is like, no, hold on.
And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers.
I am upset.
Holding it down.
Aaron Rodgers ain't even in the state of Wisconsin currently, so
that's the last you'll see of him at Bucks games.
that was for sure file footage.
That was a while ago. All right, you guys are watching Hoop Streams presented by DoorDash. We got a game in about 4 minutes on
baby. I'm
ABC.
hyped.
If you're watching on the app, you can go on and authenticate and watch it right here. No worries. You don't even have to go anywhere. But Cass, what you got going on?
I got all 6 of us back at you because we're about 4 minutes away from this thing kicking off, NBA Finals. So let's run through some of our final thoughts, guys. And, you know, might as well figure out who you all feel is going to be the MVP of this series. Chris Paul has emerged as a consensus favorite to win, according to U.S. Sportsbooks. So, Perk, let's start with you. Who's your pick for MVP of this series?
Well, look, I know CP3 is the leader of the team, but when I'm talking about MVP, I'm going with a guy that's going to get buckets. I'm going with Devin Booker. Devin Booker is going to be the Finals MVP this season. Look, he got through Patrick Beverly. He got through the Clippers. If you can get through those guys with Paul George and Marcus Morris, everything else is going to be a cakewalk. Plus, he's not going to have the mass. I think this is going to be the Devin Booker that we saw against the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. I got him picked to win the MVP.
You don't have to tell Jacoby about Devin Booker needing to go without the mask. Jacoby, is D-Book your pick?
I'm just reeling from the news that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to play in Game 1. I think that changes everything, but it doesn't change the fact that the Suns will be up 3-1 in this series. We're going to have the conversation, is the Finals MVP going to be CP3 or Devin Booker? They both do so much for this team, and CP3 is going to end up getting the empathy vote, the compassion vote, the time spent served vote. Yeah. So I think it's going to be CP3.
Yeah.
Trevor?
Yeah, I'm going to rock with that logic to an extent, but I think the buckets that Perk mentioned essentially overrules all of that. It's going to be an undeniable performance from one Devin Booker when we get down the stretch of this thing. And when you look at the numbers, you're not going to be able to deny the fact that Devin Booker was the most valuable player in the Suns reaching the NBA championship cast.
Gary?
There's not much I can add to that other than what I touched on earlier, like Book's in it for like a 40-point, 45-point affair at some point in this series, and that's the game that people are going to look back on and be like, wait a minute, Devin Booker dropped 47 points in that one game, give him the MVP.
Christine, I think I'm going to go with Chris Paul. To Jacoby's point, I think he's got the storyline vote. I think he is the biggest storyline of these playoffs, in my opinion. Just his This is his legacy. Your thoughts? Who's your MVP pick?
I'm going to go with Babyface Book, and I can't add anything to it. But I will say this. I was talking to the guys before the show, and I think that Babyface Book has somehow broken the Kardashian curse. So if he's done it so far, he's going to keep doing it.
It's real. It's real. Nothing's broken until you get the ring.
Hey, it's already
got
broken.
the ring on it.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
James Harden's getting the ring next year.
Well, speaking of rings, I want to ask you this, Perk. Are these finals more important for Chris Paul's legacy or Giannis's legacy?
It's more important for CP3 legacy. Look, if CP3 get this championship, which I believe he will get it done in 6, right? He will go down as a top 3-point guard of all time, right behind Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. He will just move up in the ranks. Winning this ring right now for CP3 is everything for his legacy. He moves from being the top 5-point guard to number 3 on the list.
I mean,